Part 28. Shao's sweet wife, she is doted on. Author, Jin Yet. Chapter 271. Chapter 271 What You Want. As soon as the words came out of her mouth, Yun Chuao realized that she was teasing him, but her mouth was faster than her brain, and it was too late to take it back. He glared at her unhappily, but still took off the backpack from his shoulders. This is for you. He handed it to her with the entire package. Su-Yun was startled. What is it? What you want, he said. Hand over it. It was quite heavy. She almost lost her grip with one hand and dropped it. She hurriedly picked it up with the other hand. She waited and looked at him again. Can you open it? It's all for you, it's up to you whether you want to open it or not. He looked a little awkward. Su-Yun smiled, opened the zipper a little, and took a look inside. She found that it was a large piece of wood that had been packed into a bag and stuffed into the bag. It was bulging, no wonder it was so heavy. There is also a faint fragrance coming out. It is very elegant and special, but it is what she wants. I felt very surprised suddenly. Didn't you say it's gone? It's gone. He loosened his hands and put them casually in his trouser pockets, raised his chin slightly, and did not look at the backpack, as if he would change his mind and take it back after one more look. That's all. The thing was too heavy. Su-Yun held it in her arms and liked it very much. This is the only thing left. Are you willing to give it to me? Do you want to keep it for yourself? Do you want to carve something? Anyway, it's useless. He lowered his eyes, looking a little disappointed, and he felt indescribable. Why is it useless? I saw that the things are well preserved. Are you sure you really don't want them anymore? He poked his head and tried to ask. Yun Chuao was a little anxious. Hey, you talk so much nonsense. If you want it, I'll take it. If you don't want it, I'll take it. As she was about to reach out to hold the bag, Su-Yun quickly turned sideways and said, if you want it, when did I say no? There is no reason to take away something given as a gift, so I won't be polite to you. Thank you. Facing her string of words, Yun Chuao's outstretched hand hung in the air for 2 seconds, then he took it back angrily, feeling a little disappointed. Hey, don't you think so? It's not easy for you, the eldest young master of the Yun family, to get what you want. How about fighting with me for such a small thing? Although wood is very rare, since he can get these, he wants more. It shouldn't be too difficult to get some. No more. He shook his head and sighed quietly. No more in the future. I will never touch wood carvings again. He raised his hands and looked at them in a daze. Su-Yun glanced at his hands. There were calluses visible to the naked eye on the palms of those hands. For someone like him who often held carving knives and often dealt with carvings, he not only had calluses on his hands, but also had calluses of various sizes. Wound. But she could tell that he still loved this business. She met him by chance at the wood carving shop on the roadside that day. Looking at his focused look, she knew that he did it because he liked it. But he said that he would never touch wood carvings again. Why? She felt that he had something to hide, but after all, it was his privacy, so she asked casually. As expected, Yun Chuao did not answer her. I heard that you are getting married soon, so please consider this as my wedding gift. A wedding gift? Su-Yun wrinkled her nose and said, that's a bit too stingy. The young master of the Yun family, so big financial resources of the Yun family, just gave such a small backpack wood. At least a car of leather should be given as a gift. If you want love, don't let me take it back. He stretched out his hand again, and Su-Yun took 2 steps back. Don't even think about it. It was clear that I couldn't bear to part with him, and I was ready to take it back after just 2 words, and I still wanted to be tough on myself. This is a gift from me personally and does not represent the Yun family, he suddenly explained. Su-Yun felt that his mood was not quite right, but it was hard to ask, so she could only say, "Thank you, I like it very much." The corners of his lips raised, he smiled happily, turned around and left. However, he turned around after taking 2 steps and asked, "Are you really going to marry a member of the Si family?" Soo-yoon looked at him with confusion. "Nothing," he shook his head, his face full of hesitation. "I'm leaving." Looking at his back, Soo-yoon had a question mark on her head. She always felt that this young man's visit was strange, but she couldn't tell what was strange about him. No matter what, she still liked this gift very much. It was very popular with her. Si was surprised when he saw such a big bag coming home. "What is it?" "Good stuff," she smiled, holding it in both hands and walking into the house. Si hurriedly stepped forward to help her take it, and felt the weight. "It's quite heavy." "Of course it's heavy, it's wood." As he spoke, he stabilized the backpack, then opened the zipper to reveal the wood inside. Wood. Ever since she set up a studio at home, she has moved back more and more strange things. Compared to others, the wood is quite ordinary, but so big. It was given by someone else. Soo-yoon probably guessed what he was surprised about, and explained, "It's the young master of the Yoon family who you met last time at the Chu family, Yoon Chwaeo. It's him. I still have a bit of an impression when I mention it, the boy in the snow. He promised me before, but then there was no news. I thought I would never see him again. I didn't expect that the world is such a small place and I could meet him in my own backyard. Maybe it was my conscience. I remembered that he still owed me something, so I will give it to me today." Sent over. Soo-yoon is particularly happy. After all, she has wanted this for a long time, and there is a fresh source of spices, which can always trigger new inspiration and provide better inspiration. She already felt that her creative inspiration was about to burst out. "So, what time do you plan to go to bed tonight?" Si knew what she was going to do when he saw her eyes sparkling and her emotion rising. Having been with her for a while, he knew very well that she was much more interested in these strange spices and raw materials than in people. "It won't be very late. It depends on the results of the experiment. You go to bed first and don't worry about me." "I won't be very late." Si rolled his eyes silently, believing her. Every time she said it wouldn't be very late, she wanted to stay up all night. If he hadn't gotten up and gone to the studio to force her back to the bedroom, she might have stayed awake. People outside always say that he is a workaholic, the kind who works hard and risk his life, but compared to her, he is not so sleepless and forgetful about food and sleep. He is really crazy. "I don't care what time you get up late. In short, when I'm getting ready to go to bed, you have to go to bed too." He gave her a time limit to prevent her from not taking her body seriously. Soo-yoon said helplessly, "Okay, I'll go to the studio now, so don't waste time." Looking at her happy and hurried back, Si shook his head helplessly. If she continued to work like this, their wedding would be delayed. End of this chapter. Shao's sweet wife, she is doted on. Author, Jin Yet. Chapter 272. Chapter 272. It's all about human effort. Stuck. After the director shouted, he turned his head and looked at the actor, with a look of helplessness on his face. After a brief explanation, he quickly walked over and said in a calm tone, "Chi-ran, your state is not quite right. Being confessed by someone you have a crush on should be joyful, happy, and a dream come true. Really, right? You can't make people feel happy. What's so exciting? It's all just a dream." "How can so many dreams come true?" she snorted and said unhappily. "Director." The assistant on the side quickly smoothed things over. "Director, we may be tired. Let's take a break first and rest and adjust." "Okay. Okay, but this scene has already been shot 8 times, we can't waste so much time anymore. Hurry up and find the feeling." After saying this, the director became a little impatient. Right away, right away, nodding repeatedly, the assistant pulled Su Jianran aside and handed her water. While giving her a hand warmer diligently, he carefully considered his words. Of course, you have almost finished filming this drama. We will finish the job soon, so we can't let anything go wrong at this juncture, right? I know you've been in a bad mood lately, but... Who said I'm in a bad mood? I'm in a good mood. It couldn't be better, she interrupted the assistant and said impatiently. The assistant patiently said, okay, since I'm in a good mood, let's take a good shot and try to pass the next one, okay. This plot is unreasonable, I want to change the plot, she glanced at the script and said suddenly. The assistant was speechless. He was already at this point. There was no way he would change the plot just because he said it should be changed. Of course, this is not good, this. I'll change it if I say it. There's so much nonsense, her suddenly raised voice made many people look in this direction, but given her status, they were all whispering and no one dared to talk loudly. Su Jianran was very unhappy, very, very unhappy. After she left Xi's house that day, only Su Changyang chased her. After so many days, Sci-fi really ignored her and didn't even make a phone call. Did he really care about that woman that much? She has no interest in filming these days. When she thinks about him getting married, she feels like the sky is falling and she has no energy to do anything. Her face was gloomy, and the assistant did not dare to say anything for fear of getting angry. At this time, someone tapped her on the shoulder from behind. The assistant turned around and saw the person. When she was about to speak, she was given a silence gesture and shook her head, motioning for her to go eat first. Handing a glass of water to Su Jianran, she waved her hand impatiently, I don't want to drink it. Women are made of water, how can they not drink water? Su Jianran's spirits perked up at the gentle and familiar voice, and he turned around and said, Chu Shui. Yun Chugzio looked at her with a smile, sat down next to her, and handed the cup in front of her again, scented tea is good for your skin. Drink some water to moisten your throat and relieve the anger. It doesn't matter how much you drink, he pouted, but he still listened to her words. He took it and brought it to his lips, frowned, and still drank a lot. Whether it's useful or not, you can't mess with your body. Why, are you deflated? Yun Chugzio asked her sideways, as if she knew everything. I don't want to say this, he turned his head and looked up at the sky, holding back the tears. This is a studio, and it would be embarrassing to be caught crying here. She doesn't want to be so embarrassed. Okay, let's not talk about it then. When will you finish filming today? She changed the subject and asked. It'll take a while, I was wasted a lot of time, and I was always in a bad mood and couldn't get the shot done. I really didn't know how long it would take. What are you doing? Standing up and clasping his hands, Yun Chugzio looked around and said, it's nothing. I just wait until you finish taking the photo and I'll go shopping with you. Shop? Su Jianran shook his head, I'm not in the mood for shopping. It is said that the best way to treat a woman's pain is to buy, but the one you love is getting married, and the bride is not herself, so nothing you buy can heal her pain. Whether you are thoughtful about it or not, you have to choose a gift, right? Gift, Su Jianran blinked, not understanding what it meant. Looking at her confused look, Yun Chugzio shook his head, you have forgotten about the fact that you have to travel every year, right? Even if you don't want to visit relatives and friends, are you not going to the Si family this year? She didn't mention it, but Su's Hiran really wanted to forget about it. In fact, she had to leave in previous years. Although Si Yao did not have a good relationship with the Si family, she thought that they were still relatives after all. She walked around more, ran more diligently, and managed the relationship better. First, let Si Yao the family will accept her, and then Si Yao will slowly get used to it and find that she is the most suitable person for him. But the news of his marriage really caught her off guard and she completely forgot about it. Ah! He sat upright at first, but after thinking about it he became discouraged. Forget it, it's a foregone conclusion anyway, it doesn't make much sense whether I go or not. Holding her arm with one hand, Yoon Chug-seo said softly, "Why are you saying such depressing words again? Weren't you fine the past 2 days? The outcome is uncertain. It's hard to say this. It's not until the last minute. How can you be sure that things won't turn around? Besides, you've been running for so many years, wouldn't it be a pity to give up now? I remember you said that MRSSI liked you very much, and praised you as a big star," he whispered softly in her ear, and every word spoke to her heart. Out and about? Yes, you are right. I have persisted for so many years, but I don't believe that the SI family can't influence his thoughts. Even if he can't change, if he can influence me a little, I will have more chances. Huode stood up, and she made up her mind. Come on, wait while I change my clothes, and we'll go pick out gifts now. You haven't finished taking the photo yet, Yoon Chug-seo said in surprise. No more filming. I'm not in the mood to take any pictures, and it's a waste to take pictures. When I feel better, I'll make up for it in one day. After she finished speaking, she went straight to the dressing room. She is so willful when there is a backstage. The assistant came over after dinner and was dumbfounded. Miss Yoon, this. Go tell the director that you are not feeling well and ask for leave today. You should be able to do what you say. She smiled and patted the assistant's shoulder. It's hard to be an assistant, and it's hard to take the blame. Smiling, she turned to look in the direction of the dressing room. Yoon Chug-seo's delicate lips curved into a beautiful arc. There is nothing predestined in this world, but it all depends on man. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shao's sweet wife, she is doted on. Author, Jin Yet. Chapter 273. Chapter 273. Do I have to be like her? The two of them went shopping for a day and bought a lot of things. In addition to the things for MRSSI, some other elders of the SI family also bought a piece. In terms of being a good person, or in terms of pleasing the elders, Soo Jin-ran is still very good at being a good person. They were all ready to leave. When passing by the perfume counter, Soo Jin-ran stopped and his eyes stayed on the dazzling array of perfumes. After walking out for a while, Yoon Chug-seo noticed that she hadn't followed him. When Yoon Chug-seo turned around, he saw her standing in front of the counter in a daze. What? Do you want to buy perfume? Returning to her side, Yoon Chug-seo chose with her. The counter girl at the counter immediately greeted her enthusiastically. What kind of style do you two ladies like? We have many styles at home. You two can try it out. As he spoke, he picked it up and introduced it. For example, this is a new product launched this month. The taste is mainly sweet. After the counter sister introduced them, Yoon Chug-seo tried a few with great interest, and then selected 2 types to decide. However, Soo Jin-ran was hesitant and seemed to have not made up his mind. What's wrong? There's nothing you like, Yoon Chug-seo asked. She shook her head, frowning. It doesn't seem to be the case. Not what? Miss, what type do you want to choose? Or do you know what tone it is, or more accurately, what brand or series it is? I can help you find it, the counter sister said quickly. Looking at her, Soo Jin-ran shook his head again and pulled Yoon Chug-seo forward. When he passed the perfume counters of other brands, he stopped and continued looking, but after searching several times in a row, he couldn't find what he was looking for. That look of loss on his face aroused Yoon Chug-seo's strong curiosity. What are you looking for? I don't know what I'm looking for. Anyway, I remember the smell, but it doesn't seem to be any of these, she said hesitantly. Where did you smell it? Since it was the smell she remembered, the place where she smelled it must have left a deep impression on her. Su Genran didn't speak, but Yoon Chugseok became even more curious. Don't you remember? It's not. She hesitated, as if it was difficult to say. I smelled it on that woman's body. With her wording like this, Yoon Chugseok didn't realize who she was talking about at first. That woman. After a pause, she suddenly realized, the woman you said Sci-fi wanted to marry. Her eyes dimmed, she lowered her head and nodded. Oh my God. I've been searching for a long time. Are you looking for that woman's perfume? What do you think? Yoon Chugseok lightly poked her forehead with her finger. She felt like she hated iron. I feel like, you don't think that if you find the perfume she uses and use the same perfume as her, you will win back a man's heart, right? These words were very direct, but they also touched her heart. That's what she really thought. Now Su Genran felt as if she was in a hurry and sought medical treatment. When she passed by the perfume counter, she thought that she smelled a faint scent of perfume on that woman that day. She thought it smelled particularly good. The fragrance was light but lingering. At the tip of the nose, it lingers for a long time. After running away from C's house, she rubbed her nose bitterly for a long time, trying to wipe away her smell. Then she suddenly figured out, could it be because of the smell that Sci-fi was treated like this? Attracted to her, fascinated by her? But I couldn't find it after looking for it in the perfume counter for a long time, which was a bit disappointing. Forget it, I know she is a perfumer, maybe she mixed it herself and can't buy it, she said a little disappointed. Yoon Chugseok shook her head repeatedly. Look at you, you give up so easily. Why didn't I realize before that you have no persistence at all in doing things? Why did you pursue Sci-fi for so many years in the first place? At the beginning. At first, she knew that there was no woman around him, nor in his heart, so she firmly believed that she would have a chance, and that she and he were meant for each other. But ever since she saw the way he looked at that woman that day, Su Genran's confidence for so many years seemed to disappear. He was defeated in that moment. He had never looked at her like this, never. Forget it, since she might have mixed it up herself, I can't find it anyway, and I don't know how to mix it, Su Genran smiled to himself. He was also confused for a moment. With just a bottle of perfume, he could lock the door. Can you live in a man's heart? You're stupid, Yoon Chugseok grabbed her and said, you don't know how to blend, but there are people who can. Is she the only perfumer in the world? She's not a top person. If you think perfume might be useful, then go find it. Find a powerful person and make a better perfume. Does it have to be like her? I have to say that her words touched Su Genran's heart. He was about to give up at first, but when she said this, his mind became active again. Yeah, Soo-yoon is not the only perfumer in this world. There are so many top perfumers. It is not impossible to want a better perfume, but it is just a matter of price. But, it may not be because of the perfume. He said hesitantly. You also said it may not be the case, but it may not be the case, and it may not be the case. You have persisted for so long, and since you have the opportunity, you have to give it a try. If you don't try, how will you know if it will work? It's already like this anyway, isn't it? Every sentence, every word, made the hesitation in Su Genran's heart disintegrate bit by bit. Yes, if you don't try, how will you know if it will work? So, are there any top perfumers you know well? She thought for a while and asked. After a pause, Yoon Chugseok said, you also know that our Yoon family is in the real estate industry and has nothing to do with fashion and beauty. Therefore, I can't help with this matter. You still have to find it yourself. But, this matter is not difficult to say, the price is enough, who can't invite me? You're right, Su Genran nodded vigorously. As long as I have the chance, I should try it. This is for Grandpa. You ask him to light it in his room every night, but don't put it on the bedside. Handing a beautifully packaged box to Chu Chen, Su Yun whispered. Don't you go and give it yourself. Even so, Chu Chen still took the box. What is it? Aromatherapy, to help you sleep. I hope it can be of some use to Grandpa, she sighed. In order to make this thing, I checked a lot of information, and I had to do it more carefully than any perfume I had made before. After all, it needs to be suitable for the elderly person's body, and I hope it can be of some use, but this is not a medicine after all. It's just a supporting role. If possible, let Grandpa go to the hospital for a checkup. Chu Chen put the things in the bag and said calmly, you should know his temper. Ken. Before she could speak, Chu Chen suddenly asked, when will you and the boy named Si get married? End of this chapter. Si Shao's sweet wife, she is doted on. Author, Jin Yet. Chapter 274. Chapter 274. A little disappointed. This. She didn't expect him to ask this suddenly. Su Yun hesitated. The date hasn't been set yet. She has a lot of things on her hands recently and is so busy that she naturally has no time to think about the wedding. What's more, it's been a long time since she got the marriage certificate. The so-called ceremony is just for others to see. That's all. It's better to be cautious. Chu Chen nodded thoughtfully. After thinking for a while, he finally asked, were you kidnapped in France before? Ah. This matter has actually been in the past for some time. Su Yun had almost forgotten it. She didn't expect that Chu Chen would suddenly mention it. Since he asked, it meant that he already had conclusive evidence, so he nodded without denying, yes, but it's all over. Why didn't you tell your family? He asked. I can handle it myself. It was too late to tell her family about the situation at that time, not to mention that a few thieves couldn't hurt her. Nodding slightly, Chu Chen said, can you now understand the meaning of Grandpa forcing you to practice Kung Fu? These two things are a bit far-fetched. Su Yun frowned. You mean, so many years ago, Grandpa knew that I would be kidnapped in France? That's too ridiculous. Chu Chen shook his head helplessly. That's not what I meant. You have to know that as a member of the Chu family, you will face all kinds of challenges. The reason why you have been stable for so long is because people outside don't know you yet. You are from the Chu family. After your identity is exposed. How? Anyway, be careful and don't neglect your practice. After explaining a few more words, he seemed unwilling to say any more about this matter. It is indeed necessary to practice martial arts for self-defense, but according to what he said, as a member of the Chu family, is it still dangerous if you don't practice martial arts? Chu Chen answered the phone. He probably didn't have time to chat with her anymore, so Su Yun got out of the car and watched his car drive away. She only hoped that the aromatherapy she made could help her grandfather's health. After seeing Chu Chen off, Su Yun rushed to the Tianyi show. Lisa was going to show there tonight and sent her an invitation. She originally said she didn't have time to go there, but she was lucky today. The perfume specially prepared for her was finally after he succeeded. He couldn't wait to give it to her. This is an international fashion show, and there are some international supermodels. Among these people, Lisa seems very ordinary, not the most outstanding one, but she still controlled it and did not show any timidity or nervousness. He finished his show with steady steps, looking so dazzling under the lights. Lisa had seen her on the stage, but it was inconvenient to call her at that time. Now she finally squeezed out of the crowd and immediately rushed to her, shouting excitedly, "It's great that you can come to my show, so happy." Then there is something even happier. Su Yun opened her arms and hugged her, and then said, "What you asked me to do has been done." "Really?" Lisa said in surprise. "Where is it? Let me try it." Su Yun smiled and said, if you want to try it, you have to find a suitable place. It's too messy here. Lisa nodded repeatedly, yes, yes, then wait for me. He just turned around and took 2 steps. After thinking about it, he turned back and grabbed her hand, no, come with me. Took her to the dressing room backstage. Her conditions and treatment were pretty good, and she also had a private dressing room. When she went in and closed the door, it became much quieter. It's just that the room is filled with the smell of various cosmetics, which smells a bit mixed. I think it should be quite suitable for you. I don't know if you like it or not. Soo-yoon took out a pink and purple bottle with a ribbon tied around the mouth. The weight is not very large. After a preliminary test, what do you think you are not satisfied with? I can adjust it again, but again, I have to wait. Okay, you must be doing a good job. Lisa couldn't wait to open it, spray a little on her wrist, and then put it close to her nose to smell it. Soo-yoon said nothing, looking at her expression, which changed from a happy smile to a stagnant smile. She did not show ecstasy, or even the same joy as before. Then she straightened up and smiled at her, it's great, I like it very much. Really, you could tell from her expression that she didn't like him as much as she said. Really, Lisa nodded vigorously and said, it smells very comfortable and fragrant. It's my favorite smell. I'll tell you that you understand me best. By the way, how much will I give you? Pushing her hand away, Soo-yoon said, forget it, I'll take it back. Since I promised to help you, of course I can't charge you. But next time, I will definitely charge. She said this, and Lisa couldn't argue anymore, so she smiled and nodded, okay, then I won't be polite to you, and I'll treat you to dinner. Soo-yoon declined, not today. I have something to go back to today. Let's go another day. You are here for a few more days, right? 2 days, Lisa said, gesturing with 2 fingers, there will be an awards ceremony tomorrow, and then it will be over. Go back to France directly, Soo-yoon asked. No, I want to go to the imperial capital. There is still an invitation over there. I will go back after it is over. The time is still quite tight, Soo-yoon said thoughtfully, then let's do it tomorrow night. I'll treat you to a meal tomorrow night, so I can put it into practice for you. Okay, Lisa nodded decisively and said, it's okay to have dinner together tomorrow night, but I have to invite you. After the things were done, Soo-yoon went back directly, but she could tell that Lisa didn't like this new exclusive perfume much. She probably didn't say anything out of politeness and politeness. This is also normal. Fragrance is inherently different according to personal sensitivity and sense of smell. Some people like this kind of fragrance, while others like another kind. It is said that it is difficult for everyone to agree. It is precisely because of this that there are different people. There are a variety of perfumes with different flavors, each with a different audience. And because of this, it is very difficult to make a customized exclusive perfume, because no matter how good you are and how good you are as a top perfumer, the result may not satisfy customers. In fact, Lisa was not dissatisfied, she just felt that it was still not quite the same as what she wanted. She raised her wrist and smelled it again, and a fresh and elegant rose fragrance came to her nostrils. Although it was very fragrant, what she felt was the scent of a girl. She always wanted to get rid of that feeling of being a little girl, but no matter it was Dad or Sue, the perfume he made for her couldn't escape this smell. Could it be that the impression she gave others was that she was just a little girl, without any growth at all? I was quite depressed. I stuffed the perfume bottle into my bag. I have to say that I was a little disappointed. End of this chapter. Shao's sweet wife, she is doted on. Author, Jin Yet. Chapter 275. Chapter 275 I have a baby. The event was over and the models were all going back to the hotel. Lisa was delayed a little because she stayed with Soo-yoon for a while and fell behind. It happened that the reporters from the TV station had just finished packing and were about to go back to draft the article. They met each other at the exit and greeted politely, "Miss Lisa, haven't you left yet? Your performance today is really wonderful. Can you do it again? Can I take a photo for you?" Lisa naturally acted gracefully and said, "Of course." I took a few photos, and my friendly attitude impressed the reporter. I stepped forward to shake hands before saying goodbye. "Miss Lisa is so young and humble, and she will definitely have a bright future in the future." "Thank you." He shook hands with a smile, raised his wrist, and smelled a faint fragrance. The reporter is a young woman who usually likes to use perfume. She can be called a loyal perfume fan, so she is particularly sensitive to the smell of perfume. When Lisa raised her hand, the light fragrance came naturally in her nose. The female reporter was stunned for a moment, but she didn't let go of Lisa's hand. She was in a daze. "Hello, how are you?" Seeing that the other person was holding her hand, Lisa called her twice as if to wake her up. If the other person was not a woman, she would have suspected that he was taking advantage of the opportunity. Suddenly coming to her senses, the female reporter realized her gaffe and quickly apologized. I'm sorry." But he still didn't let go, and even lowered his head, trying to get closer. "What are you doing?" Lisa was startled and quickly pulled her hand away. The movement range was large, but her wrist also slipped through the palm of the female reporter's hand. The female reporter raised her hand to her nose and sniffed hard, with a strange expression on her face. "Ms. Lisa, I'm sorry to shock you, but may I ask, which perfume are you wearing?" Unexpectedly, she would ask this question. Lisa was stunned for a moment. Perfume. Thinking about the new product Suyun gave her, she sprayed it on her wrist. Could this be what she was talking about? "Oh, it was given by a friend. I just used it because it was fresh. Maybe it smells a bit like the original perfume I wear?" Sorry, she thought it smelled weird, which attracted the other person's attention. "No, it's not the smell of skewers," the female reporter said. "Actually, I also like perfume very much. I have a lot of them at home. To be honest, I know a lot about perfumes, but the one Miss Lisa uses, I haven't smelled it before." After a pause, she seemed to remember something. "By the way, I remember that Miss Lisa's father is a master of perfumers. Your father must have specially prepared it for you, right? I feel really envious when I think about it. It feels so good to have a dedicated perfumer to create a unique perfume that suits you best." Lisa felt like there was something wrong with her nose after being praised by her. Why did she smell so ordinary? That's why I feel a little disappointed. Subconsciously, I raised my wrist, but before it reached my nose, a faint fragrance slowly floated up, floating in the air, and mixed with every tiny particle. Just a little bit, it already made people feel charming. Lisa was shocked. This is different from the smell she smelled in the dressing room just now. If it was the fragrance and purity that belonged to a girl before, now it is the charm and sexiness that belongs to a woman, just like, as if a girl has grown into a woman, from being ignorant and innocent to being mature and attractive. It can be said that this is not exactly the effect she wanted, but it is far beyond what she wanted. "Miss Lisa, your father is indeed a top perfumer. The smell of this perfume is really special. I like it very much. I wonder if I can be lucky enough to collect a bottle." The female reporter obviously likes it very much. Full of wanting feeling. Lisa received such an unexpected blessing, so she couldn't bear to share it with others. "I'm sorry, this is my exclusive customized model, so I can't give it to others." After a pause, she continued, "By the way, this perfume was not made by my father, but by a friend of mine." "Friend, are you your father's student? Is it also a master?" In fact, the conversation between the two of them had already strayed away from today's catwalk show. However, Due to personal interests and the fact that it was just a casual chat after the show, they unknowingly chatted a few more words. She is not my dad's student, she is Chinese, well, she is also a master. In her heart, Soo-yoon is a master. Even if she has not officially obtained the title of top perfumer, she is still worthy of it. Master? Chinese. Then she is. The female reporter wanted to ask more, but Lisa's assistant came to find her. When he saw her, he said, "My dear, why are you still here? Everyone is gone." Turning around, he saw the female reporter who wanted to catch up and blocked it with his hand. "Sorry, the event has ended. We do not accept any private interviews. If necessary, please make an appointment with our company in advance. Thank you." Speaking, he pulled Lisa away. The female reporter regretted that she did not get the answer she wanted, but at the same time she had a bold idea. Today's press release has a header. Originally, an ordinary catwalk show did not pay much attention, and reporting similar news with too many media, it is difficult to stand out, but if you use perfume and fashion as the highlight, you will have one more attraction. Moreover, the annual new product competition is about to start next week. This year's competition has a lot of hot topics before the competition. For example, Willan, which was originally going to participate, went bankrupt due to various reasons, and Willan's chief perfumer was also arrested abroad. He was arrested, and there are also rumors that the original judge was also disqualified because of drug abuse. Although there are many gossips on the sidelines, there are not a few people who eat melons now, so the popularity is still there. If the title added international supermodel abandons big brands and appoints Chinese perfumers to customize exclusive perfumes, it would definitely be very eye-catching. If she writes more suspensefully, someone will definitely guess who the Chinese master is. The female reporter was very happy. She felt that she had found a treasure after leaving a little late. Lisa was also very happy. The perfume that she thought was ordinary at first became more and more fragrant the more she smelled it. She almost wanted to cut off her arm and put it in her nose to smell it. Sitting in the car, looking at her strange movements, the assistant couldn't help but said, "Lisa, what's wrong with you? Is your wrist uncomfortable, or is there something wrong with your nose? What have you been smelling?" "I have a baby," she said mysteriously, then quickly waved her hand in front of the assistant's eyes, then took it back. "Doesn't it smell good?" Assistant. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shao's sweet wife, she is doted on. Author, Jin Yet. Chapter 276. Chapter 276 exceeded expectations and imagination. Seeing that the assistant had no reaction at all, Lisa was confused. "Isn't it delicious?" Rubbing his nose, the assistant said innocently, "I have a cold and I can't smell it." "Oh," she suddenly realized, and then shook her wrist proudly, "then it's a pity for you, you can't smell such a fragrant smell." The assistant came with her from France and was ordered by Mr. Wool to take care of her. He was very disapproving of her little girl's gift of treasure. With an excellent perfumer like Mr. Wool, what other perfume could deserve her such joy? It was just a little girl's freshness. However, what Soo-yoon and Lisa did not expect was that the next day, a detective search for incense would break out across the city. Under the vivid description of the female reporter, all the perfume fans were curious about what kind of magical smell the perfume that combined the innocence of a girl and the temptation of a mature woman had. The female reporter's writing is very good, and she is a perfume fan herself. Just describing it in words makes people feel like they can feel the fragrance through those words, plus those big bold words "mysterious Chinese perfumer," which adds a bit of magic. Although some Chinese perfumes are pretty good, only a handful of them have made it onto the international stage. In recent years, major beauty and perfume brands have been trying hard to break out, but it's too difficult. Got it? In the field of perfumery, there are many people who want to enter the industry. Those who really enter the industry will win a batch, and those who stay after learning will lose a batch. Later, those who can get the certificate and become a practicing perfumer can, not many, the top ones, just a few. You can all call them by name. After all, talent is so important in this line of work. So the scope of everyone's guesses was only among a few people, and no one guessed Soo-yoon at all. It's no wonder, after all, Soo-yoon's fame is still limited. Although she just won an award internationally, it was just a tasting competition. To put it bluntly, it was to appreciate other people's perfumes, not to create her own, so the distance was there should still be some. Besides, if they are so awesome, why would they come back if they don't stay in France? Most of the top perfumers in China don't stay abroad and immigrate directly. In addition to the speculations of the melon eaters, curious people have already called Lisa to ask who the perfumer is. Lisa's assistant was very surprised. She never expected that so many catwalk shows did not stir up much splash. Instead, a small bottle of perfume caused such a big sensation. The attention it attracted was far beyond her imagination. "Daisy, why didn't you let me say that the perfume was given to me by Soo-yoon?" The call just now was intercepted, and Lisa said, very dissatisfied. "Lisa, I'm doing this for your own good. Only in this way can we maintain continuous enthusiasm," Daisy said earnestly. "Think about it, when have you ever had such enthusiasm in so long? It's rare to have so many. The media is paying attention to you, so of course you must take advantage of this opportunity." "I don't need this kind of heat," she said unhappily. "Although I really like the perfume Soo-yoon sent me, the media should pay more attention to her own business ability. Why did the trend suddenly go astray? There is also the female reporter who spoke so miraculously. Through her description, as long as you smell the scent of this perfume, you will be fascinated. How can it be so magical? Okay, even if you don't need it, are you sure your friend definitely wants to be made public?" Daisy tried to persuade her from another angle. "Lisa, don't forget, your friend is just a Chinese, who would believe it? Isn't it troublesome for her to be questioned about how good Chinese people can make perfume?" "But it was her who did it," Lisa said unconvinced. Daisy made a truce gesture, and then said, "Okay, I won't argue with you, but you believe me, don't say her name out for the time being, wait for 2 days. Let's wait for another 2 days, and maybe there will be an announcement. Anyway, it's always good to attract more attention." Soo-yoon was also surprised by the sudden popularity of the perfume. The key point is that she didn't expect it to be so fast. The call came faster, and Arian was the first to pay attention. After all, she learned from the sidelines and watched along with Soo-yoon during the preparation process. So when the news came out, she saw that it was Lisa who broke the news. "You will know which one you are talking about. Sister Yoon, have you read the news? The custom-made perfume you paired for Lisa has become popular," she asked directly when she came up. Soo-yoon nodded. "I know, I can't say it's popular, it's just that it's rumored, it's a bit magical." She also read the report, and the wording was a bit exaggerated. "It's a myth. I just don't understand why Lisa didn't say your name directly. Instead, she mysteriously became a top Chinese perfumer. Now everyone is going to those national treasures. You guessed it, no one would know it was actually made by you." Arian was indignant. This was such a good opportunity to increase her popularity, but Lisa didn't even say anything. Soo-yoon spent so many days racking her brains to prepare the perfume for her, and made many attempts to make the perfume more personal. However, she said it in one sentence: "What kind of fragrance hunting detective is it?" "You're a detective." A case that can be solved in just one sentence has to be dragged out for 10 or 20 episodes. If she hadn't been worried about Suyun, she would have really wanted to jump in front of the media and shout, "The person you are looking for is my sister Yun." Right? If Lisa doesn't say it, why can't she say it? Can't she just say it? Sister Yun, just wait, if Lisa doesn't tell me, I'll tell you. I'll call the media and tell them that you are responsible for that perfume. Before she could hang up the phone, Suyun hurriedly said, "Don't go. Sister Yun. Lisa has her own reasons for not saying anything. This perfume was originally made specifically for her. I did what I wanted to do, and that's enough. But I'm not worth it for you. You helped her so much, but she didn't even say your name." I think she deliberately took the opportunity to attract attention and sensationalize. Arian was very unhappy. "Don't talk nonsense, Lisa is not that kind of person." As for her friends, she still understands that Lisa is not that kind of person. As for not mentioning the name of the perfumer, maybe she has her own ideas. The chain effect caused by this incident really exceeded expectations and imagination. Lisa was unintentionally planting a willow, while some people planted flowers deliberately. Especially some female celebrities in the entertainment industry suddenly discovered that using a perfume can also attract such popularity and miraculous effects, and they all followed suit, setting off a craze for purchasing perfume. End of this chapter. Shao's sweet wife, she is doted on. Author, Jin Yet. Chapter 277. Chapter 277. Do you really want to know? In fact, this is a good thing for the entire perfume industry chain. After all, it drives overall sales. Not everyone has the financial resources to buy exclusive perfumes. Even if they are willing and have the financial resources, it will take those masters to be busy and have time to do so. What's more, so far, everyone does not know the powerful fragrance Lisa talks about. Who is the incense master? Some people even think that she is being mysterious. The Chinese perfumer was actually just a cover. It was probably her father, Mr. Wu, who made it for her himself. Think about it, if you have such an awesome father, why would you need to find someone else, let alone a Chinese? Not to mention people from abroad. People in China themselves have a deep-rooted prejudice against the perfumers of their own country. They feel that it is difficult for great perfumers to emerge among the Chinese. Even if there are a few, they can reach the level of it is also incomparable internationally. Some people have such a bad nature that they always feel that things outside are better than what is at home, so rumors spread. Because of this incident, Lisa also received an invitation from the TV station to do an exclusive interview. Daisy is very happy about this matter. She has been making career plans for Lisa. Although Lisa has good conditions and is considered to have a background and connections, her luck always seems to be a little bit tepid. Yes, it is difficult to become popular, but this time, because of this inexplicable perfume, she suddenly became famous and attracted so much attention, so of course she had to take advantage of it. Remember, never mention the name of the perfumer, let them guess. If asked on the spot, just say that your friend wants to keep it secret, Daisy explained while helping her arrange her clothes and hair. Daisy, I don't like this very much. Lisa has been enduring it these past few days, but 2 days after another, Daisy blocked almost all the calls for her, just not letting her say Suyun's name. Come. She was going to be on TV now, she still said that, and Lisa's face immediately darkened. I know you are unhappy, and I know you are a loyal person, but you can't just do it for your friends, you also have to think about it for yourself and your father. My dad, what does this have to do with him? Lisa said with a puzzled look. Sighing, she straightened up and looked at her young face. Daisy said, Lisa, don't even think about what your father does. You should know very well how famous he is in this industry. If others knew that his own daughter did not use the perfume he made, but instead used one made by a little-known Chinese perfumer, what would others think and how would they look at him? Blinking, Lisa felt confused. What perfume do I use have to do with my father? Who stipulates that my father is a perfumer, so I can't use other brands of perfume? According to this theory, the real estate agent's your daughter can't buy a house outside her own brand, the daughter of the LV CEO can't buy Gucci bags, and the daughter of a surgeon can't let others perform surgery on her? Your logic doesn't make sense. Daisy couldn't convince her. Lisa, this is different. I don't think there's anything different. Well, I'm running out of time. I didn't feel anything before, but recently, I disliked Daisy nagging in her ear less and less. Invited by the TV station for an interview, Lisa put on a tight dress that could highlight her model figure. Then she specially sprinkled the perfume Soo-yoon gave her, thought about it, and put it in her bag. I was a little disappointed when I got it that day, so I didn't take a closer look. Later, when I went back and tasted it again, I felt that I really liked this perfume more and more the more I used it. I really like it to the core of my heart. In addition to the unique scent, even the bottle of the perfume is very interesting. The lavender bottle is in the shape of an animal, which looks like it is squatting. Then there is a ribbon tied around the neck, and the head is a cat's head, with its head held high. Arrogant and cute. Putting it away carefully, she got into the car and headed to the TV station. Recently, Lisa has become a big celebrity on the internet. Her name is almost linked to perfume, mystery, and her identity as a model is not mentioned much. After officially entering the shooting, Daisy sat on the stage as an assistant. He looked down at the stage with his eyes fixed on the stage, for fear that she would say something that she shouldn't say because she was young and energetic. I am very happy to invite our international supermodel, Miss Lisa. Today the host quickly entered the stage and opened the opening remarks. Lisa smiled and nodded. Hello everyone, I'm Lisa. Waving his hand and greeting the audience, he was very warm and generous. There has been a lot of buzz about Miss Lisa recently. I heard that Miss Lisa is the daughter of Mr. Wool, the world's top perfumer. As the daughter of a perfumer, why didn't she inherit her father's business and instead embark on the path of modeling? The host did not directly talk about perfume, but started from her origin. Sitting in the audience, Daisy sweated a little, for fear that she would say something wrong and jump into a hole dug by others. My father is a very good perfumer. I have been exposed to a lot of perfumes and fragrances since I was a child. However, this does not affect my love of being a model and my career as a model. I think the two are not the same. Conflict. She smiled and said, just like you, the host, your parents may not be hosts, but you still do this job because you like it, right? The host was stunned for a moment, and then he laughed twice. Yes. You are right to choose the path you like. But recently, everyone has been interested in a customized perfume used by Miss Lisa. I'm very interested. Is this perfume also made by your father? I'm coming. As expected, this kind of question came, with a bit of ill intention and temptation. Daisy was sitting in the audience and winking desperately, trying to get her to pass this question in a vague way and get it over with directly. But Lisa seemed not to see it and replied firmly, no. Oh? Isn't it? Is it true that it was created by a Chinese perfumer as rumored on the internet? Then we are all curious, who is the perfumer who can make Miss Lisa favorite? However, Lisa did not answer directly, but asked instead, who do you think it will be? This. The host smiled, sorry, I really can't guess it. So I hope Miss Lisa can answer this question for everyone. Lisa turned her head and looked at the audience. Do you really want to know? The people below are nodding their heads like rice. Those who can sit here are all curious about this issue. What do you expect, is he Chinese or non-Chinese? She asked again. Wait a minute, I want to make a call first. As she said that, she took out her mobile phone. End of this chapter. Shao's sweet wife, she is doted on. Author, Jin Yet. Chapter 278. Chapter 278. Well, I'm Soo-yoon. Everyone looked at each other in confusion, not knowing what she meant by calling at this time or who she was calling. Daisy was even more confused, with a vague feeling of bad premonition. Finding the contact's number and pressing it, she put an index finger to her lips to signal them to be quiet. Because the hands-free was on, a beep waiting for the call to be connected came from the scene. On the other end of the phone, Soo-yoon was studying the piece of wood that Yoon Choi-ao gave her. She was so focused that she didn't notice that the phone was ringing. By the time she realized it, it had been ringing for a long time. She picked it up and saw that it was Lisa, then answered it. "Get up, hello, Lisa." Boom! There was an uproar at the scene. No one expected that there was a woman on the other end of the phone, and from the sound of her voice, she must be Chinese. "Sue, I'm calling you because I want to say thank you," she said calmly, looking forward. It feels very comfortable to be able to say thank you openly in front of so many people. This is what she owes Soo-yoon these days, and she has owed her a thank you for a long time. Because of her perfume, she became so popular, but she couldn't even say her name. Soo-yoon didn't realize that the other end of the phone was a scene at all, so she answered naturally, "Thank you for anything, as long as you like it." "I like it, I like the perfume you made for me very much." She emphasized it again, paused, and said, then, "Can I tell everyone your name?" Daisy said before that maybe Soo-yoon didn't want to stand in front of the stage, so today she would ask and tell her the decision-making power. At this moment, Soo-yoon realized something was wrong. Everyone? What everyone? The commotion at the scene told her something, and she was startled. "Are you being interviewed?" "Yes," Lisa replied affirmatively. "Sue, can I tell everyone who you are? They all want to know the name of the perfumer who created this perfume for me." This was a surprise. Soo-yoon didn't expect that she would connect with her in front of the TV station. However, before she could reply, there were already voices coming and going. "Soo-yoon, it's Soo-yoon." "Yes, that's Soo-yoon, I've heard her voice, it's her." The answer is already very clear. Everyone has guessed it without Soo-yoon having to say it herself. Lisa's nickname, and the fact that Soo-young just won the grand prize in the tasting competition in France some time ago, are all combined together. It is actually not difficult to guess, but from the beginning, many people did not believe that an ordinary Chinese tuna perfumer can create a perfume that sounds so magical. Now that everything is connected live, plus someone can hear her voice, this is a real deal. There was silence on both ends of the phone. Only the people present were excited and cheering, as if they had finally found an answer to this mystery. After a few seconds of silence, Soo-yoon said, "Okay, I'm Soo-yoon." At this moment, everyone seemed to have guessed a big prize, and the atmosphere at the scene reached a climax. Within just a few hours after hanging up the phone, Soo-yoon's name was the first trending item, and the scene continued. The host has noticed the fragrance on Lisa's body and said directly, "I would like to ask, is the perfume Miss Lisa is wearing now the one in the rumors?" Yes, Lisa nodded. Then, after a pause, the host seemed to be deliberately embarrassed and said half-jokingly, "I may be more direct. I actually feel that the feeling at such a close distance is not as magical as the rumors. It's very ordinary." This statement is a bit provocative. After all, Lisa has been popular for several days with this perfume. Now that you say the perfume is ordinary, doesn't it mean that she is hyping it up and that the media is setting the pace? Daisy couldn't help but stand up. Her face was full of displeasure. Originally, Lisa had to say Soo-yoon's name, so there was nothing she could do about it, whoever was her little ancestor, but the host's words were deliberately difficult, and if she didn't get it right, Lisa would being said to be a result of hype will backfire. When he was provocative like this, Lisa was not angry, but smiled and said, "That's normal. Perfume and food are the same. People have different tastes, and it's hard to agree on one. Some people like it, and some people may not like it. It's not surprising that I even hate it. For example, my assistant had a cold 2 days ago, so she couldn't tell whether it smelled good or not. She took Daisy as an example and went on to say, "Actually, I personally like this perfume, and the reporter who interviewed me that day also liked it very much." We may all be in the same camp, or it may represent the aesthetic taste of a considerable number of people. Isn't it very common that some people can't appreciate it? She was polite, and the implication was that what you think is ordinary is due to your level of appreciation and aesthetic taste, not to the perfume itself. Actually, in addition to the one I am using, my friend Sue also has many other works, which were also very popular before. I believe that those who like her perfumes will also like her new products. After saying that, Lisa put down the microphone, meaning to end the interview. Daisy quickly stood up and went to greet him, expressing her displeasure at the host's impoliteness. He helped Lisa put on her coat and led her out from the backstage passage. There were many staff members passing by in the passage. Lisa walked towards a woman and passed her by. I don't know if it was an illusion, but I felt that he paused in his steps, seemed to take a deep breath when he passed her, and then left. Since it only happened for a moment, she just looked back in confusion and didn't see anything. Su Genran turned into the workroom, with displeasure written all over his face. The host, who had finished his work and was taking a break to drink water, saw her and immediately stood up, calling respectfully, "Sister Ran." Hunting softly, Su Genran kicked away the obstructing props and looked at him with a critical eye. "What are you doing?" The host looked embarrassed. "I've tried my best. After all, it's a live broadcast. I can't be too disruptive." "Who asked you to ruin the situation? You can't even say a few unpleasant words or do something disgusting. What was your reaction on the spot?" He lowered his voice and couldn't hide the anger. Su Genran was so angry that he didn't even think about it. Achieve the effect she wanted. Instead, Soo-yoon stole the spotlight. When she came here, she saw that Soo-yoon was already the #1 hot search topic, completely suppressing her. You must know that in the drama she filmed a few days ago, as the heroine, she was the #1, but now she was suppressed by a woman from a niche circle. The key is still that woman. Why don't she be angry? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shao's sweet wife, she is doted on. Author, Jin Yet. Chapter 279. Chapter 279, Unintentional planting of willows and willows make shade. Sister Ran, if it wasn't for your sake, I wouldn't have said those few words today. Her perfume is really fragrant. I feel like I'm being fascinated. I really want to buy a bottle. The host said a few truths, but they made Su Genran even more angry. Go, go. There are so many international big brands that you don't use, right? You dare to use a brand name product that doesn't even have a brand. Don't be afraid of bad skin. After 2 seconds of silence, the host said in a low voice, Sister Ran, the brand I have is the Xinchen under the Uniaja Group. Su Genran glared at him fiercely. He shrank his neck and stopped talking. Su Genran's eyes turned red with hatred as the popularity on Weibo continued to increase. She was already looking for a domestic perfume master to make a customized perfume for her. She had already contacted them and was waiting to meet them to find out her temperament. It was specially made to measure, but it was just one step short of it, and she was beaten to it again. She had to wonder if the woman did it on purpose. Just when I thought of making a customized perfume, she customized it for others. She is just a perfumer in a niche circle. Wouldn't it be better to just stay in her circle and create her fragrance? She insists on being in the limelight, insisting on trending searches, and yet she still dominates her. I am afraid this woman was born just to go against her. You ran, what are you looking at? Because the door was open, Su Changyang walked in from the outside and knocked on the door symbolically. Hurriedly closing the web page, Su Jianran turned to look at him. Just take a look, what are you doing? Are you in a better mood these past 2 days? Standing in front of her, looking at her with concern, Su Changyang knew his sister quite well. If she cries, makes fuss, and gets angry, that's normal. But after 2 days of crying, she suddenly behaves like a normal person. She is busy all day and doesn't touch the house much. Even when she comes home, she always hides in the house. Which makes people feel very uneasy. There must be a monster when something goes wrong. Don't keep it to yourself and do something. Very good, she blinked and said, I feel happy, I can eat and sleep, my work is going well, and I am in good health. Su Changyang. Brother knows that you have liked him for a long time. It will not be easy for you to let go. But sister, you have to learn to accept it. There is nothing in this world that you will definitely get results if you work hard. Yaos, you know your temper, he has already said it, if you. Before he finished speaking, he was interrupted impatiently by Su Jianran. Okay, okay, I already said it's okay, so don't mention it again. I don't want to hear his name, nor do I want to hear that woman. Why don't you just let me forget their names quietly? Seeing her irritable look, Su Changyang felt a little distressed, so he softened and said, okay, okay, I won't say it anymore. By the way, I'll give you the top perfumer you asked me to find for you earlier. I found it, and we made an appointment to meet at noon tomorrow, please remember. Yes, I understand, nodding, she returned to her well-behaved appearance. He stood up and was about to leave. He took 2 steps to think about it and then turned back worriedly. Looking at Su Jianran's appearance, he hesitated for a moment and asked uncertainly, why are you looking for this perfumer? Are you looking at Su? You are a perfumer, do you want to learn this? It takes talent to learn this, and even if you learn it, it is impossible to change Yao's mind just because of it. What are you thinking? Of course not, Su Jianran rolled his eyes, I just want to get a customized perfume and use it at the Silver Flower Awards ceremony. Isn't it popular now? Su Changyang didn't know much about women. He thought it was just a matter of beauty, so he didn't take it too seriously. Su Yun did not expect that this unintentional gift to a friend would become a hot search topic, and it would become more popular than ever before. At first, we were still discussing that perfume. Gradually, the discussion extended from the perfume to Su Yun herself. The old gossip was not mentioned, but also rose to the level of appearance, and even Su Busu's voice. Looking at the trending list of Su Yun hashtag customized perfume, Su Yun hashtag the voice is too soothing, Su Yun hashtag counter-attack queen, and Su Yun hashtag the appearance is so good that she wants to make her debut, I don't know. I thought I would make a sentence out of her name. Facing this situation, Su Yun was a little bit dumbfounded. This was a typical case of unintentional intervention. Her Weibo followers surged to 4 million overnight, which made her a little uncomfortable. Although she became famous, as a perfumer, she has not yet reached the highest level. Her goal has always been, top perfumer, top international. You don't seem very happy to have become a famous person. After pouring 2 glasses of red wine, Yao handed one to her, then he held the other glass and sat down next to her on one side. Actually, I hope they pay more attention to the perfume itself than myself. As a perfumer, nothing is more important than your own work. If someone knows how to appreciate the work that you have worked so hard to concoct, you will find it worthwhile. But obviously, the situation is a bit reversed now. At first, everyone was curious about the perfume, but now, they are more curious about her than the perfume. Have you ever considered launching your own brand? Yao asked, taking a sip from his wine glass. My own brand, Her eyes lit up, she thought about it, of course she did. This should be the dream of every perfumer, but this is relatively difficult. After all, it requires a lot of funds. Without strong capital as the backing, how can it be done? Therefore, although there are many top perfumers in the world, not many have their own brands. Most of them work for some big-name luxury goods. At first, they did not have enough funds. Later, after making enough, they gained popularity and luxury. When it comes to branding, it doesn't matter whether it's your own brand or not. Anyway, your personal visibility has already been opened up. I don't have that much money, and the new students are not kind to me. Because she was a new student, she had a place where she could continue her career with peace of mind and compete with Luo Yuan Hang. It would be too callous to leave now that she is famous. There is no conflict, he said, you are still a freshman. There will be a separate laboratory for you. In the future, the perfume you make will have a separate series of brands. The name of this brand will be decided by you. To name. That will be your own brand. It sounds really tempting, it's hard not to be tempted. It seems hard for me to refuse such a good offer, her eyes showed yearning. Si Yao chuckled, then don't refuse. End of this chapter. Si Shao's sweet wife, she is doted on. Author, Jin Yet. Chapter 280. Chapter 280, a crazy perfume that makes people obsessed. Su Zhenran was surprised when she saw the perfumer who contacted her. First of all, she didn't expect that the perfumer was also a woman. Secondly, what she knew was that the perfumer was nearly 50 years old, but when she saw her now, she seemed to be only about 30 years old. If the age is not false, it can only be said that she has taken good care of herself. Master, he Su Zhenran called carefully, showing respect. The woman smiled and said, my name is He Wen. I prefer you to call me Miss He. Hello, Miss He Soon. She took the seat opposite her and asked, what would you like to eat, Miss He? Whatever He Wen said, her eyes kept looking at her, as if they were examining something. Su Zhenran felt uncomfortable all over and subconsciously tugged at her clothes. Don't be nervous. I want to know your temperament and how to make a perfume that suits you better, He Wen said, seeing her unnaturalness. Hearing what she said, Su Zhenran suddenly became energetic. Then what kind of perfume does Miss He think I should use? Actually, she doesn't know much about perfumes. What she usually uses are big brands that she buys based on fashion. Anyway, she thinks they smell pretty good and just uses them. She has never thought about perfume and whether it is suitable for her. If it weren't for Si Yao's failure, she wouldn't have thought about this issue. There's no rush, He Wen said lightly. Her hair was tied loosely into a simple bun on the back of her head, which made her look capable and feminine. The lines on her face were very clear, especially her eyes, which were extraordinarily deep, and the eye sockets were wider than ordinary people. It should be sunken deeper to make the eyes appear more lively. A faint fragrance floated in silently. Su Zhenran sniffed subconsciously and felt that the fragrance was stronger. As the air disperses, it seems to be floating in the air, making people want to take 2 deep breaths to grasp the smell, but it is so ethereal and elusive. It smells so good, she couldn't help but say, but as soon as she said the words, she felt very abrupt and looked at He Wen apologetically. He Wen smiled disapprovingly and adjusted her sitting posture. As she casually flipped her hair and raised her hands, the fragrance spread freely, as if it was stronger than before. He couldn't explain the feeling, but it was as if the fragrance was alluring, and Su Zhenran unconsciously wanted to get closer to her. Miss He, what brand of perfume are you using? I've never smelled such a good scent before. It smells so good, Su Zhenran couldn't help but praise. Su Zhenran felt that this perfume was better than the perfume Su Yun used. It's even more fragrant, it's so charming. It's very ordinary, I just mixed it up at random, He Wen said nonchalantly. Just. He opened his eyes wide and looked at her in disbelief. Su Genran suddenly felt confident. The master is worthy of being a master. The perfume he mixed casually is so powerful. If it was specially mixed, wouldn't it make people want to die? Miss He, can you give me a bottle of this perfume? She asked tentatively. She has personally felt this kind of temptation. If she also used such a product, would Si Yao feel the same as her and couldn't help but want to get closer? Unexpectedly, He Wen's expression changed. You can't do it? Why? If perfume is such a casual thing, do you still need to specially treat me? I can just buy 2 bottles at the mall counter. What's the difference? She seemed a little angry and said with an unhappy face. Su Genran was a little confused by her sudden anger, but perfume has its own unique charm. Each bottle of different perfume represents a different meaning. The customized perfume has a soul. When people smell it, they can think of you and think of you. Thinking of the smell that belongs to you, that smell only belongs to you and will not remind you of others. This is the meaning of perfume and the charm of perfume. You said, how can you just choose a perfume that is not suitable for you at all? When talking about perfume, He Wen seems to be a different person, talking endlessly, even a little obsessed. Su Genran was a little moved by what she said, and felt that it was the same. Miss He is right, I just want a perfume that belongs only to me, so that people will think of me when they smell it. She will be obsessed with me. She didn't say this, but this is what she wanted. Looking at her with a meaningful smile, He Wen said, do you have a sweetheart? He didn't expect that she would say this suddenly. Su Genran blushed and lowered his head shyly, acquiescing. Want a man to be obsessed with you because of your taste, she added. Su Genran shook his head quickly. I know that's impossible, I just hope. Why is it impossible? He Wen interrupted her and said, perfume is a magical and fascinating treasure. If you use it well and correctly, it will make men crazy about you and obsessed with you. Su Genran was stunned. Are you serious? You know what the animal kingdom relies on to court a mate? He Wen suddenly asked again. Su Genran followed her words and answered subconsciously, what? Smell? She raised her eyebrows. Animals are not as hypocritical as humans. They are very direct and find each other's partners through smell. Therefore, you should have something that is unique to you and can make people obsessed with it. Crazy perfume. Is it the same as what you use? Su Genran couldn't wait to hear it. She felt that what He Wen said made sense. The master was indeed the right one and he understood what she needed very well. No, it's different. She smiled and waved a finger. I told you, you need one, just for you. What do you need me to do? Su Genran was a little excited. Just listening to her words, he felt that the perfume that made people crazy and obsessed already belonged to him. This feeling seemed to make Si Yao completely devoted to her and no longer be confused by that vixen. Yes, that's right. What's so great about that woman? Isn't it just that she knows how to make perfume? Si Yao must have been confused by her perfume, so he was so fascinated by her. Yes, that must be the case. Looking her up and down, He Wen raised the corners of her lips and chuckled, I want a lock of your hair and a bottle of your sweat. Sweat? Su Genran asked puzzledly. Yes, he nodded affirmatively, indicating that she heard correctly, and then said, when you are ready, bring the things over to me, and then just wait. Although Su Genran didn't understand why she wanted these 2 things, at this moment, she still had great trust in He Wen. She nodded and said, okay. End of this chapter.